Hi, thank you, Carol. As someone who has some experience writing children's books, it is my pleasure to introduce someone who has mastered this art so beautifully to advocate for animals, and specifically for people and animals experiencing homelessness together through his book, AMICI per la PELLE. Roger Olmos was born in Barcelona, Spain, and has devoted himself almost exclusively to the illustration of children's books, with brief forays into commercial illustration, magazines, and television, and has published about 90 titles with about 20 Spanish and international publishing houses. He is a vegan and animal rights activist, and he actively collaborates with My Dog is My Home's friends in Spain, FAADA, or the Foundation for the Defense of Animals. 2 books were born from his work with FAADA. In 2014, his book Senza Parole was published, which received positive appreciation from the likes of Jane Goodall and J.M. Coetzee, and which Roger himself defines as one of the most important books of his career. In 2017, his book Amigos was published. Both of these books were published by Italian book publisher Logosedizioni in collaboration with FAADA. Now, Roger, thank you for joining us all the way from Barcelona, Roger. When you're ready, please begin.
Yes, thanks to you for inviting me to be here with you. I hope my English is not a problem because it's quite rusted. And as well, I have some difficulties to hear you because you sound like quite robotic.
That's my natural sound.
Okay, no, all of you as well, you're a partner. Okay, so I can start sharing screen, I think. Okay, I'm gonna share the screen, all of the screen, that's it. Okay, do I have to admit people here? I see things, no, I have to leave it.
No, you just give the presentation.
Okay, well, my name, as she said, is Roger Olmos. I've been illustrating books since 2000. I've been all my life drawing. And most of my time I've been working for other authors, but when I have the chance to do a book by myself, I like to go a bit in my territory, which is a bit of activism. She said, I'm vegan for 14 years, and most of the book I do by myself are about to show people what happened with animals in reality, until this last book I did, which is called Amici per la Pelle, which means like friends forever, which is based in the job of my partner in FAADA. She did with the project Millors amics, best friends, where she's been studying people and the relation they have with their animals. People who's been alone on the street, who lost everything, and the only being that never abandoned that has been this dog, cat, from another species, and to reverse this thing about the family, to get them and understand them as a family. So I've been speaking with people on the street, I've been studying her work, and at the end I spoke with my publisher and we thought it was a nice idea to do this book. So basically it's all about with images. There's very just a few texts which I'm going to narrate, and I'm going to start to show you a bit how it works. This is the cover, the main cover, and it starts like this. I'm going to do it a bit bigger so you can see. Do you see it well? Yes? Can you see it? Okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, basically is what I have done, and the interview I did with these people on the street is the relation they have with their animals. It's been the only being that it's been always with them. And we could say is this friend they have is what give them away from death, give them away from drugs or alcohol. If it wasn't for this furry friend, most of them, maybe they told me I would be dead. No? So it's very important to give them the same chances that we give humans for these animals. I mean, to get inside shelters. I mean, to get basic necessities like to go in the bathroom in a bar, to go to a hospital. They should be considered as part of the family. In the same way that a mother never would leave children outside because the children is not allowed to get inside in the place. Those dogs should be as well allowed to get inside those places, no? And that's what FAADA is working on with government here. And this is the start, though it's just, he's on the street, starts a new day. And this is a scene that I've seen a lot of times. I've seen on the street, I've seen when I was small. They were looking in the garbage. And we see this dog, which is looking his friend. And it arrived a moment where he said, sorry, my little friend, but I couldn't find nothing for you this morning. So, okay, let's have our tour and see what we can see here around, no? And they start walking inside that city. I learned as well that normally these people used to be always in the same place. It's the way they can be sure that they know all the people. So they know the people who give them money or the people who bring them food, the coffee. And it's a way to be controlled by themselves, no? In this always in the same place. But for the book, I choose to make him walk around the city. So we give some dynamism to the people who is seeing this, all the pictures, no? And the text, yeah, we cannot see the text on the book because it's only the images, but basically what it says is, here we are, you and me, my little friend, enjoying the day, no? In that city where some people look at us as if we were monsters. That's why I used to change it. One thing I've learned with illustration, and I like the most of this profession, is to communicate with the image in a point that the text is only more decorative than too much necessary. I like to explain things with images. That's the way I transform these people in this kind of monster with these tentacles, and the dog as well becomes a huge thing. Maybe it's the way these people who doesn't like poverty because they are afraid of this, make this strange looks to them, no? And they say that, no? Normal people that just look at us with that face up because they think that we are kind of a monster, no? And when comes the night, bad people wants to hurt us. Because here, unfortunately, we see it many times in the news, no? When someone is being hidden and people who doesn't like these people and just make them bad things. But the people who have a dog, the people who has another friend, you see the real relation when they protect them, no? And that's why I represent this evil thing with this shadow that comes through the wall for them, and the dogs start bow, 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 and this evil just go. But in the morning, there are other people who has a big heart who, there's always people who bring them some food, a hot coffee, something to eat. And so we can see people of all kinds of people. We see as well these birds I decide to put inside because it has a meaning. This little petirrojo, I don't know how to say it in English, has a red head, and that's more like this, and always with them. So here they go in this city which is full of people. It's full of people, but for all of them, most of the times we are quite invisible. But the light that we have inside is much stronger than them. People who goes up and down in the city, people who go to their work with their problems in their head, but they never see them. They never see them. But I put this light to them and this unique yellow jacket to make them look stronger. No? But even like that, even if they are walking with no destiny, they know that behind every corner, behind every building, there's something that is always waiting and taking the opportunity, which is the danger that can kill them. This is can called by to get sick, some accident. They are very, very vulnerable people, and anything that for us could be just a small problem, for them could be a very big problem. And I represent in this la parca, we said in Spanish, I don't know, the death, practically, you know, this figure that is always watching them, waiting the moment of vulnerability. In a big city that sometimes make us look very, very small, all this material thing that is always watching you, I don't know you, but looks like we have to be always on the same level, or we have to be always in this competition and looking for success, looking for all these things. But it arrives in the point that all this doesn't care anymore. And other times that city that make us so small, the city becomes the opposite. It's a very small city for us, but this is more to get the oppression for the bad days they have. But for fortune, they have each other. No, they are always together. They protect each other. They create this family. So here's an impasse of time. We see here the sky. It's blue, and slowly start getting more clouds and clouds and clouds. So it's a seasonal changing. It comes the winter. And when it comes the winter, start the problems. So here we have our friends looking for a shelter, working, start snowing. It's very cold. And here comes the problems. Like, for example, he needs some attention in the hospital. Okay, you can get in, but your dog has to wait outside. And no, I cannot get outside. I cannot leave my friend here outside. Or even in some shelters that dogs are not allowed there because they don't know how to manage this. And doesn't matter the situation, doesn't matter what happened. In every complication, he always will be there, and he will never abandon him. So he decides to be outside with the dog, with his friend, with his brother, we could say, than to be in a warm bed or have a shower and leave his companion outside. What can happen? As I said, anybody would leave his son outside. And here I decide to change color. I decide to go to the black and white. So anybody's on the street, it's very late, everybody is sleeping, and they are looking for a place to pass the night. And they arrive to this bus stop where we see some unfolded box there, and they decide to create a shelter in there. So they go there, they build the box, they put underneath this little roof and starts going the night there. So hours and hours of cold. And what happens in the next morning? The next morning, the city starts to waking up, everything is covered by snow, and we see this strange creature that comes from the end. It's coming to the bus stop, and he decides to bring them, to cover them with his suit. I invented this character. And here is starting a word where the people, the man who was speaking, that is giving thanks. I thank you, my beloved human, to have been my friend all this time. I thank you, my beloved human, to have been part of this family. You know? And so there they are, and this little life of sparklings of life starts getting out. So that's why comes our little friend. Maybe he was inside his jacket looking for some cold, goes outside and starts flying and goes. So here ends my story like this. And most of the people told me, oh, it's so sad. Why have you finished it like that? Why they have to die? And I said to them, well, because most of the times when they see that they cannot go inside in places with their dogs, they decide to go outside. And we have seen on the news people dying of cold outside. And for people who read this book, it's more shocking to see this result, even if it's very, very bad, to live in the brain this little thought about, well, there's something that doesn't work and there's something that we should change. If this finish well and everything is happy, okay, another book, close it, we're happy. But I prefer to leave this mark on brains of people that think that every time they see someone who's having cold, or someone who's outside, buy a coffee, buy something, some food, and give them. I think it's more important to finish like this, to create this feeling that everything is okay, everybody happy. Doesn't matter. And well, that is me. Go. If you want to see some more of my work, of my activism, you can find me here in this place. I don't know about time, how I am. Oh, 30 minutes just. So I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna stop. How do I do?
Yeah, thank you. We have time for one or two questions. So you, everybody, you can put them in the chat.
Oh, yes.
Say, Roger, you're deeply moved by your artwork and your storytelling. And My Dog Is My Home is a big fan of your work. And I can't say enough how much we appreciate that you've created several books now based on your work with FAADA, assisting people experiencing homelessness with companion animals with getting off the street and into their own permanent supportive housing. So we are profoundly grateful to you for that.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Did you understood something? Because I think my English is a bit strange. But I think it's if anybody wants to make some question, I would be glad to respond to all of you.
Yeah, there's oh well, what languages does this book come in?
Okay, this book is now published in Italy, so the book is published in Italian, but it's just a few words like this. It's very, very, all the text it has is very small. But we are looking, now it comes the Bologna Children Book Fair, which is the most important. It's like the Oscars of the children book. And I'm glad to say as well that this book is being selected one of the best books published for this year. So I'll be between 4,000 books, they selected 100, and this one is there, which is quite surprising because it's a book that ends bad, and normally the people want stories that ends very, very happy. And for me, it was quite surprising this, but I'm very happy for that. So at the moment in Italy, but we hope that can go to other publishers outside.
There's much congratulations for you going on in the chat right now. I think another question is there are still people in the US who think that it's animal abuse for a person experiencing homelessness to have an animal. We would love to know more about how homelessness and animal companionship is perceived in Barcelona.
Okay, always when I did this book, and I always refer about a nice relation between man and dog. People that had a house, or maybe was already in the street and found this dog abandoned and or already was living with the animal. And all the friends, all the family just abandoned him. But the only one who's still there with him is the dog. The dog could be nice in a home, could be nice in our countryside, but could be very nice with someone who really takes care of him. I'm talking always about good relationship. Here in Spain, there are bad people who use dogs and steal dogs just to beg and things like that. We try to locate these people and deal with them and FAADA and with the law to see what we do with this animal. But always when the relation is healthy and is real, here is very, very important. And well, that's what we do. And we still see, and here there are a few shelters that start allowing dogs, and we are people who here as well who bring food for the dogs and veterinaries that help them as well with the vaccines and all the primal care they need. So it's very quite controlled here.
Well, thank you so much, Roger, for your beautiful analysis and insight and art and soul. We have many people asking about how to get the book. So I'll briefly say that My Dog Is My Home would like to thank Roger's publisher, Logosedizioni, for working with us to bring the book to a US-based audience. It's available through purchase through the Logosedizioni website, and 15% of proceeds from the special My Dog Is Home bookshop they set up for us will go to My Dog Is My Home. The link is in the chat. And the book, as we know, is in Italian, but the art and the story, I think, transcends words. And you can, the website, if it doesn't display in English, there's a translate option as well. So thank you again, Roger, and back to you, Carol.
Muchísimas gracias.
De nada, de nada.
Italian, pero hablo español. Thank you
Fantástico,
for
gracias.
Sarah and Roger, mil gracias. Thank you for sharing your gift of illustration and storytelling with us. While I don't speak Italian, the story was just, I was moved just by the images. So thank you.